The friend who ruined my life. My name is Emma. Chloe and I were best friends for 10 years. I shared my clothes, my secrets, and my home with her. I never imagined the person who wiped my tears was the same person secretly causing them. Friendship is supposed to be a safe harbor, a place where we can be ourselves without fear. We believe that the people closest to us want the best for us. But what happens when the person you trust most is actually the one holding you back? Today, I want to tell you a story about a friendship that felt perfect on the outside, but was hollow on the inside. As you listen, pay attention to the words we use to describe feelings and relationships. This is a story about trust, betrayal, and the strength it takes to walk away. Our apartment always smelled like vanilla candles and fresh coffee. It was a small space, but for Chloe and me, it was our kingdom. We had met in college during a difficult exam week, sharing a bag of chips and complaining about our professors. From that day on, we were inseparable. People often called us sisters. We had the same sense of humor, the same love for old movies, and a shared wardrobe. If I bought a new dress, I'd say, "Chloe, you have to wear this on your date Friday." If she found a new hobby, I was right there beside her. Chloe was the strong one. She was loud, confident, and always knew what to say when I was feeling down. Whenever a guy broke my heart, Chloe would be there with a box of tissues and a long list of reasons why he wasn't good enough for me. "You're too good for him, Emma," she would say, stroking my hair as I cried on our velvet sofa. "You have a light that people want to dim, but don't worry. You have me. I'll always protect you." At the time, those words felt like a warm blanket. I felt lucky. In a city of millions of strangers, I had one person who truly cared. We had a routine that felt unbreakable. Every Tuesday, we ordered Thai food. Every Sunday morning, we walked to the park to talk about our dreams. I told her everything. I told her about the promotion I was hoping for at the marketing firm. I told her about Mark, the kind architect I had started seeing, who made me feel like I was finally seen. I remember sitting on our balcony one evening, the city lights twinkling below us. I turned to Chloe and said, "I don't know where I'd be without you, Chloe. You're the only person who truly understands me." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She just took a slow sip of her wine and whispered, "I know, Emma. I'm the only one who really knows what's best for you." I didn't think twice about that comment. I just felt safe. But looking back, I realized that the walls of our cozy apartment weren't protecting me from the world. They were keeping me trapped in a story I didn't yet understand. Before we continue, I want to ask you, have you ever had a friend who felt more like a sibling, someone you trusted with every secret? Tell me about them in the comments. The shadows began to stretch over my life, but I didn't see them as shadows. I saw them as bad luck. First, it was Mark. Things were going so well. He was gentle, and for the first time, I felt a quiet, steady kind of love. But then he started pulling away. He stopped texting first. When we met for dinner, he seemed nervous, looking at me as if he didn't recognize me. One night, he just sent a short message saying he wasn't ready for a relationship. I was devastated. I sat on the kitchen floor, and Chloe was there in seconds. "I knew it, Emma," she sighed, handing me a glass of water. "I didn't want to tell you, but I saw him out last week with another girl. He's just like the others. You're better off alone with me." Then there was the promotion. I had worked 3 years for the senior designer position. My boss, Mr. Henderson, had practically promised it to me. But on the day of the announcement, he called me into his office. He looked disappointed. Emma, he said, I received an anonymous email containing some of your private social media posts, expressing quite a bit of hatred for this company. I'm afraid we can't move forward with your promotion. I was frozen. I didn't post things like that. I barely use social media. I ran home, my head spinning. Chloe met me at the door, her face a mask of sympathy. The world is so cruel, Emma, she whispered. People are just jealous of your talent. They want to sabotage you. That word, sabotage, felt so heavy. I felt like I was walking through a thick fog. I started to believe that I was cursed, that the world was a cold place, and that only Chloe was on my side. I stopped going out. I stopped trying. I stayed in our safe kingdom, tucked away under the blankets, while Chloe handled everything. She even started checking my emails for me, saying she wanted to protect me from any more bad news. The truth didn't come in a dramatic shout. It came in a soft, mechanical glow. One rainy Tuesday, Chloe went to the grocery store. She had left her laptop open on the coffee table, something she never did. At the same time, my own phone buzzed. It was a notification from my laptop in the bedroom, saying my cloud storage was full. I walked over to the coffee table to use her charger, but as I moved the mouse, her screen stayed awake. She wasn't on a store website. She was logged into my old email account, the one I thought I'd lost the password to months ago. My heart didn't race yet. I was just confused. I looked at the sent folder. There was the email to Mr. Henderson. It wasn't an anonymous stranger. It was sent from my IP address, written in my voice, using personal details only I knew. It was a vicious, angry letter. Then I saw the messages to Mark. Chloe had messaged him from a fake account, telling him that I was still seeing my ex-boyfriend, that I was only using him for money, and that I laughed at his boring architecture drawings behind his back. I felt a coldness start at my fingertips and move toward my chest. It was a physical sensation, like ice water moving through my veins. The room felt suddenly very quiet, except for the hum of the refrigerator. I scrolled further, years of messages. She had been warning people about me for years. Every time I reached for something bright, she was there in the dark, cutting the rope. I heard the key turn in the front door, the sound of grocery bags hitting the floor. Emma, I got the good wine. Chloe's voice was cheerful, bright, and completely normal. I didn't move. I stayed staring at the screen, at the blue light that had finally burned away the fog. The strong friend, the protector, was the monster under the bed. The blue light of the laptop screen was the only thing I could see. My hands were shaking so hard I had to grip the edge of the table. I could hear the rain tapping against the window, a rhythmic, indifferent sound. I looked at the cursor blinking, waiting, as if it didn't know it had just destroyed my world. Emma, why are you sitting in the dark? Chloe's voice drifted in from the hallway. I didn't look up. I couldn't. I felt like a glass vase that had been dropped on a stone floor. I was still in one piece, but I was covered in thousands of tiny, invisible cracks. She walked into the living room, her smile faltering as she saw where I was sitting. She saw the laptop. She saw the screen. For a second, just a fraction of a second, her face changed. The warmth vanished, replaced by a sharp, cold calculation. Then the mask slipped back on. "Oh, Emma, honey," she said, walking toward me with her hands outstretched. "I can explain that. I was just trying to protect you. Mark wasn't right for you, and that job, it was taking all your time. I did it for us." The word us felt like a physical weight. I realized then that in Chloe's mind, I wasn't a person. I was a possession. She didn't want me to be happy. She wanted me to be hers. I felt a wave of agonizing realization hit me. I thought about the years I spent doubting myself. I thought about the nights I cried in her arms, thanking her for being the only one who stayed, while she was the very reason everyone else had left. The betrayal wasn't just in the emails. It was in every hug, every I love you, and every shared meal. It was a decade of my life built on a foundation of lies. I didn't scream. I didn't have the energy. I just felt a deep, hollow exhaustion. I realized that the person I loved, the sister I thought I had, didn't actually exist. She was a character Chloe had played to keep me small, to keep me dependent, and to keep me under her thumb. Chloe started talking faster, her voice rising in pitch. She was spinning a web of excuses, blaming my boss, blaming Mark's insecurity, blaming the world. She even tried to blame me, saying I was too fragile to handle the truth. I stood up slowly. My legs felt heavy, but my mind was suddenly terrifyingly clear. "Stop," I said. It was just a whisper, but she froze. I walked past her into the kitchen. I grabbed a stack of empty cardboard boxes we had kept in the utility closet for our next move. A move I had thought we would make together. I brought them into the living room and set them on the floor. "What are you doing?" Chloe asked, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and fear. "I'm not going to yell, Chloe," I said, my voice sounding strange and distant to my own ears. "And I'm not going to listen to any more stories. I need you to pack your things." "Emma, don't be dramatic. You can't survive without me. You know that. Who's going to help you when things get hard?" I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in years. I saw the desperation in her eyes. She wasn't strong. She was terrified of being alone. She needed me to be broken so that she could feel whole. "I survived you," I said quietly. "I think I can survive anything else." I spent the next 3 hours in silence. I didn't help her pack, but I didn't leave the room. I watched. I watched her fold the clothes I had lent her. I watched her wrap the mugs we had bought together. The kingdom we had built was being dismantled, piece by piece, into brown cardboard boxes. When the last box was taped shut, I handed her the spare key. She took it, her face twisted in a look of pure, concentrated resentment. "You'll regret this," she hissed as she stood at the door. "You'll see how cold the world is without me." I didn't answer. I just closed the door and turned the deadbolt. Click. The apartment was silent. The smell of vanilla was gone, replaced by the scent of rain and empty air. I sat down on the floor in the middle of the empty living room. I was alone. For the first time in 10 years, I was truly, completely alone. And for the first time in 10 years, I could finally breathe. The first few months after the door closed were the hardest. The silence in the apartment was loud. I had to relearn how to make decisions, even small ones, like what to eat for dinner, without looking over my shoulder for Chloe's approval. But slowly, the light started to return. I reached out to Mark. It wasn't to ask for a second chance, but to offer the truth. We met at a crowded cafe, and as I showed him the emails, I saw the confusion on his face turn into a deep, quiet sadness. "I thought you hated me, Emma," he whispered. "We didn't fall back in love. Too much had been broken, but we found peace." He forgave me, and in doing so, I started to forgive myself for being so blind. I found a new job too. At the interview, I didn't let anyone check my emails. I walked in with my head high. I realized that my fragility was a lie Chloe had told me so many times that I had started to believe it. In reality, I was resilient. 3 years have passed since that rainy Tuesday. My new home doesn't smell like vanilla candles. It smells like the jasmine plants I grow on the windowsill. I have a circle of friends now who don't try to protect me from the world. Instead, they walk through it with me. We celebrate each other's wins. When I got a promotion last month, nobody sent a fake email. We just opened a bottle of champagne and laughed until our sides ached. I met someone new too. His name is Leo. He doesn't try to dim my light. He just stands back and watches me shine, holding my hand when the shadows occasionally return. Sometimes I still think about Chloe. I wonder if she's sitting in a different apartment, telling a different girl that she's the only one who truly understands her. Betrayal is a heavy price to pay for wisdom, but I wouldn't trade the person I am today for the person I was back then. I learned that a real friend is a mirror that shows you your best self, not a shadow that hides you from the sun. Real love, whether it's friendship or romance, does not require you to be small. It does not require you to be afraid. If someone tells you that the whole world is against you and only they are on your side, look closely at their hands. They might be the ones building the walls. Protect your peace. Guard your heart. And remember, real friends celebrate your light. They don't secretly try to blow out your candle. If you believe in setting healthy boundaries and protecting your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Study English TV. Your support helps us tell more stories like this one. Let's grow together, one story at a time.